So we have some squatting today. And it is we're gonna start some lateral lunge steps. So very similar to our Cossack squat, right? But we're gonna be moving the feet forward or laterally. So we'll be stepping back together. I'll explain the difference, but you've done both these things before in the last few weeks, followed by um 8 total lunge and reaches. Basically, it's just a lunge and a rotation. There's called the world's greatest. There's a lot of names for this stretch. But nice activation. A forward lunge, by the way, not a lateral lunge. And then we'll do another every minute on the minute for 8 minutes. Still 5 squats into a 5-second hold. We did that last time. So you do 5 squats, no pauses. The 5th one, you hold for 5 seconds. You're going to repeat this for 8 minutes. If you're someone who has the option to increase weight or maybe complexity of the style of squatting, and I'll be more specific about how to do so, I encourage you to nudge that forward if that's a possibility. And then we have some glute bridges, some plank work, and some sort of rowing positions, upper back, lats stuff at the end. But I'll be more specific about that when we get to those movements. So let's start with some cat cows. I have a cat, but no cow. So
I'll be the cow.
moo. Let's do 10. Maybe. You want to share with me? I'm going for 10. Do your 10 reps. We're going to do bird dogs. Right. So opposite arm, opposite leg. Yeah, because my cat's in the way.
Okay, I've lost count, so.
Finish. That's fine. These initial movements are really just here to kind of give you an honest assessment of how your body's feeling, basically.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Leaning forward is absolutely an option, right? So leaning over that leg. It's more, can kind of add a stretch to either this hip, right? Or even that bottom glute, but that's sort of up to you. But you don't have to go anything too extreme. Okay. Oh my gosh, that's the point of the cone. But it's she can itch here. She just can't itch here. That's all.
Yeah.
I took the cone off for 10 minutes yesterday and she went, it's like, this is why you don't get freedom. Okay, next thing we're gonna do, threading the needle, right? So get a bit of rotation kind of preemptively. So tabletop position, I'm gonna reach just gently towards the ceiling, going to whatever open rotation I'm comfortable with. And then I'm gonna thread my hand between that gap, between wrist and my thigh. I'm gonna do this at least 3 times. You could do a few more if you'd like. I'm gonna stay on my right side for now. and we'll switch.
Okay.
Right. So what we're going to be doing here initially, right? I mentioned the lateral lunges. We're gonna go ahead. Let's stay kneeling for this part. I'll get my camera up a little bit. So we're gonna stay kneeling. Okay. My foot is gonna be, instead of kneeling forward, I'm gonna be right. So this foot just turned out. I'm gonna squeeze my butt cheek on this leg, so the downward one, and then just gently lean the opposite direction. We're going for something gentle here. So yeah, and you might not need a lot. But squeezing this and opening this downward hip kind of creates a gentle stretch in this inseam or groin, and maybe even this one. That's fine too. And we're just oscillating, right? So I'm kind of just touching, I'm coming back to neutral, breathing consistently. An option, should you want to take it, maybe we'll take a weight. Okay, I have a kettlebell, use a dumbbell, and do the same exercise to add a little extra load, but that might be too much. So if that's too much, maybe we don't. Okay, but it's an option should you want to take it. We're going to do both sides, weighted or unweighted. Okay, I did about 5 or 6 pulses there, or always butt squeeze on this downward and hip forward, and then we'll reach the side. Good. So we're just kind of testing before we go to lunge laterally if this sort of inseam, your adductor, or those systems that go from the knee to the groin are okay with that option. Okay. Or maybe what your limitations might be. So let's go ahead. I'm going to just keep the camera where it is, but we're going to come back to standing. Instead of the Cossack squat, which is the variation where we had the feet already kind of preset wide, and we just kind of go from side to side. And that looks a lot like this. So from the side, I'm sitting back into a squat shape. My weight's kind of very much over this foot. This time, we're going to be moving our feet. So I was going to go from kind of athletic stance, stepping out, Cossack squat, lunge, yeah, back together, step to the side, lunge. So we're switching sides. Instead of Cossack squats would be 1, feet stay where they are, 2. So slight difference. We're adding a step, literally and figuratively. Let's do 8 per side. If you're switching, 16 total. If the bringing the feet back together is a problem, we can just change this to alternating Cossack squats for the same number of reps. Okay, lunge and reach. I'm sure there's another name for these guys, but here it is. I'm standing at the edge of my mat. If you have one, I'm going to take a big lunge step out with my, I don't know, right leg. Get my hands to the floor, very yoga adjacent. I'm sure you're familiar with this one. I'm going to rotate towards my front leg. So I'm going to pick up my right arm, nice big rotation. Right? To switch, I'll face forward here. To switch, you can bring the feet back together and stand back up, or if you're comfortable, just switching in the plank shape itself. If you're not comfortable switching in the plank shape, you can just come back to standing. But let's do 8 reps here. If you need to protect the toes, that's fine. We're just going for some version, right? Even a back knee down is fine. Rotation. Right. If you need to stay on one leg for 4, because we're doing 8 total. Okay. Or elevate your hands is always an option. If flexibility is a factor, I respect that. Elevating your hands on something, you can still do a plank shape and a bit of a lunge or a split stance. And then rotating towards your front knee. Should you choose, you can bring your elbow towards the floor. This is an option, not a requirement. Elbow towards the floor is also an option. Those are 2 more pieces. So a little more activation and flexibility. We're going to do that a total of 3 times. You just did that for 1 set. Making any adaptations you might need to do so. Okay. So we're back to your 8 per side lateral lunge steps. Finding a lunge shape, right? So like, I wasn't kidding when I said you can absolutely raise up the hands. You can drop the back knee if we need to reduce the load here, and we're just adding some rotation on the top of that. Like I said, it makes more sense to do 4 reps on one side, staying in your lunge shape. Okay, of knee down or knee up. 1, right? 2, and doing all 4 before switching. That might make more sense than switching every single time. But that kind of depends on you as the athlete. So good. Just opening our hips. Doing 3 total rounds. That was 2 if I counted correctly. If anything this feels funny and not in a good way, go ahead, let me know. You also make those lateral steps a little bit smaller, sort of less wide. Okay, you can remain on the ground if that helps. Stabilize that lunge shape. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about, or kind of talk about how we can potentially increase difficulty on something where maybe increasing weight isn't an option. If we're talking about, right, a singular object, okay, I'm gonna use a kettlebell, but if you have 1 dumbbell, for example, okay, this still applies. I'll show you both. So let's say you have 1 object. This is my kettlebell, and this is the only kettlebell that I own, for example. And I've been doing this. I'm like, great, I'm doing my squats in a goblet position. Cool, excellent. I'd love to go heavier. I don't own anything heavier. How do I make this slightly more challenging? The answer is you go into a front rack position. It's easier to demonstrate with a dumbbell, so I'll do that first. So if I'm doing this version, I know dark on dark here. I have a dumbbell in my hands. I can go ahead, and if I have singular, I can just bring this to my shoulder. One-sided, okay? And I do my, right, so offset. It's offset on purpose, right? I can do my squat holds, right? Options for the kettlebell, similar idea. If the kettlebell is on the ground, I can grab it, kind of palm up, and then rotate this to my shoulder, same principle. My 5 squats, and then holding for 5 seconds. Okay. If we have 2 objects, 2 kettlebells, 2 dumbbells, we can hold here. We've done that before. And then unlikely, but should anyone really feel so inclined, you can actually squat with your hands above your head. There's a few requirements. You have to be able to put your hands over your head, but you can, in fact, hands overhead, squat down. That's kind of extreme. We don't have to go that far, but if all you own is 5-pound plates, that might be something you can practice. But that can be a lot. So I just want to be very clear on that final option. So we're going to be doing every minute on the minute, every minute on it for 8 minutes, 5 squats into a 5-second hold. We did this last time. So the idea is we're trying to either match the load we did last time or potentially increase it or increase complexity. But I would do one of those 2 things. So increase complexity or load. Let me get my timer going here. You, of course, can count your own 5-second hold in the bottom of that squat. Okay. You're also welcome to, if you're doing this independently, time this on your own. Okay, counting down from 10 seconds. So you can hang tight. We're starting in 5, 3, 2, 1. When you're ready, squatting down. Go ahead. So if you want, Teresa, keep that weight closer to your chest. So not your waist. Yeah. So this increases the demand of the upper body. You want to, maybe you can hold this like a lollipop, kind of the opposite way. Instead of like here, you can hold this like here. How you hold the kettlebells kind of varies. There's a multitude of ways that can happen. So 5 squats, 5-second hold, the 5th one. You're starting round 2 or minute 2, I should say, in 10 seconds. 5, 3, 2, 1. Back to, there you go. 5 squats. So sorry, we're doing 5 squats up and down, regular squats. Your 5th squat is where you do a hold. Yeah.
I was holding on every one.
Yeah. That was a bit, I would say that was a bit unclear.
No, it was extra.
Yeah. Way less terrible. Yeah.
That's way less terrible.
Yeah.
Totally doable.
Yeah. 20. Yeah. If we were doing pauses, which we've done, I feel like a 2-second pause, even 3, but 5 is just.
It's a long pause.
5 is a situation in which we're like, hey, I don't have any more weights. We're just increasing difficulty because this is the only weight that I own. If we're in a gym, I just say add more weight, basically.
This bigger kettlebell than last week. There's last
It
week.
is. I see that. 2, 1, and go. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, exactly. So if you have the opportunity to go up, that's great. If you don't, or you missed last time, just find something that feels appropriately challenging. That's sort of fine too. Good. Nice job. It goes without saying, make sure you're breathing in that hold.
I was trying to remember to breathe.
Yeah. When you're counting and holding and squatting.
And breathing, that's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot to do. And seconds. 3, 2, 1. This is round 4. Good. A suggestion, not necessarily anything about it. You can breathe in, going down. Exhale as you stand, like you're blowing out birthday candles. Or any candle, but birthdays are fun. Good. Breathing, just breathing consistently here on this bottom position. Nice work. Nice. You have 4 more rounds. You are halfway through. 10 seconds. That's 5, 3, 2, 1, and go. Go. Nice holds. Chest stays up. Good. Nice. Whatever your squat depth is, right? Ideally, I talked about getting hip crease at or below parallel. For some of us, that's just not an option, maybe right now or ever. So whatever your lowest squat depth is, the goal is to hold that position and not bring the hips up in that 5-second hold, which you guys are doing a great job of, but just a gentle reminder. We're going in 5, 3, 2, 1, go. This is set 6, 6 of 8. Well past the halfway mark. There you go. Nice fight. There you go. Good. You have 10 seconds. 5, 3, 2, 1, and go. Set 7 of 8. You go. Nice job with the breathing and the holding. Good work. Yeah. Final set though. This is a final rest period before your final set of squats. Ten seconds. 5, 3, 2, 1. Final set of squats and a squat hold. Breathing. Nice job. Okay. Well-deserved rest. Okay. So we have our final piece here, which is 3 sets total of 12 glute bridges. I said weighted optional. So if you feel so inclined, you can add a weight to either one leg or both. I have dumbbells or a kettlebell. So this can be sort of something, and I can go much heavier than 10, but it's just what I have to have on hand right now. I'm gonna either go with my 10-pound dumbbell, kind of in my kind of my hip or hip flexor. I'm just holding the dumbbell so it doesn't roll back on me, right? If this is a bit uncomfortable for your hip flexors, some people will put the dumbbell across the thigh itself, right? You can do two. Okay, one here. So that might be more comfortable for some. That's just a matter of taste. So the crossbar goes across the thigh versus the pelvis, but I really don't mind which one, if you're going to add weight, which you choose. For the kettlebell, it's just kind of, I don't know, place it however makes sense. You're gonna be doing 12 of them. We did 10 last time. So 12 of them instead, 12 glute bridges. Squeezing your butt before you lift the hips. So weight it or not. I'm gonna brace first, squeeze your butt, then lift to whatever height you can get to, come back down, repeat for 12 reps. The second thing is the bear plank pull throughs. So that's if we need to adjust, of course, that's fine. But in theory, bear plank is this position, it's behind my wrist, and we're doing the pull through, right? Minimizing the amount of movement of my back. I know you couldn't see that very well. And then the bent over rows, bent over is relative, but you may use your body or the couch. So if you have weight and you're okay hinging forward, that's a big factor here. I have my left hand on my left knee, weight in my right hand, my chest is up. So my hip and my shoulder, my back is flat. I'm going to be pulling the weight just in line with my elbow, right? Or sorry, elbow just in line with my body. We talked about how this might not be an option. So for some of us, it might be a W shape. So I'm going to make a W facing down, pulling my elbows back, making a W-ish or an M. And then you can kind of rotate the tops of my hands to the ceiling. Squeeze my shoulders together. So we're doing 8 per side if you're loading this, or 8 bent over W's. Okay, let's start on those glute bridges. You can even put the kettlebell on one leg.
Oh, whack your pubic bone with the kettlebell.
Don't whack your pubic bone with the kettlebell. Or if your external surfaces, don't smush those either, because that sounds uncomfy.
Well, the kettlebell is kind of cold, so that might actually.
But if you whack, that doesn't sound nice.
No whacking. There will be no whacking.
Yeah, sometimes people just put the weight on one leg and just switch. If you're going for, because it's more comfortable to have that weight loaded. You just switch legs basically. Halfway through. I've never had much luck doing this with the kettlebell. It's not the end of the world, but you can also split stance it, just like split your feet a little bit so they're uneven. And just go unweighted. After your 12 glute bridges, 10 total bear plank pull throughs. If that needs to be a different plank shape, Meg, or adjust accordingly. I know it's heavily on the toes on this one.
On the toes, that's for sure.
Yeah. Sometimes, maybe not always. I've had some people with it's different situation. It's arthritis as opposed to you've got
arthritis the other toe, dude.
So I have someone who's able to do a plank shape, like a push-up shape versus a bear plank. But like I said, works for some, not for others. That's just an option. And then 8 per side if you're doing the bent over rows. You can put your hand on a bench. You could do the edge of a sofa. Okay. Good. Pull the elbow back a little bit. So it's going to be a little, just towards the hip, just a smidge. Yeah, there you go. If you think of going straight up and down, it gets a little bit shouldery, kind of like this guy. You pull the elbow back, kind of towards the hip. It opens the chest, and it gets this sort of lower, even posterior lat to kick it. Yeah. A little more towards the hips again. Yeah. Rotation's optional. So rotation's great if you're comfortable. You can also keep that back kind of neutral. Those are both great. I think rotation's more if you can tolerate it or the weight you're using makes sense. Okay. And because there's no real like time constraint on this one, this is a rest as needed. So. Good. Bracing, squeezing your butt, then lifting your hips. That's kind of the order of operations. You can make these shoulder taps or a plank hold as well on this next movement. So the bear plank or an actual full extended plank could be an option. The pull throughs, always an option. These can also be like just plank holds, or if you want to tap shoulders, sometimes that could be a less demanding option depending on what you can do today.
Mr. Toe made it through 2 rounds of that.
That's good. How did you decide that your toe's a mister?
Because he's an asshole. Sorry, guys.
I won't add to that, but I do have follow-up questions. We could talk off camera.
I think it's because there was a big, dumpy, middle-aged man who pushed me over and broke it.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Nice. That's great. Yeah, so you're doing a great job, Meg. If you if you're doing great. So if you ever feel like when you're rowing, rotation or not, it's all in the shoulder, which it doesn't look like it is, so it's fine. You can always just drop the elbow back a little bit. But so far it looks good. Just so it's not meant to be a neck trap exercise.
Yeah, the first round I did before you corrected me was a little.
It was a little bit, but like I said, sometimes,
Little bit, but
you need a little weight to elicit a change, just like there's like a just right. So yeah, this one is rotation or rotation is meant to be kind of, I would say, armpit and below. Because but rounds 2 and 3 look great.
Wait,
Your final set of glute bridges.
I almost thought that was almost fucked that up.
Your final set of, I would say, plank, kind of generalize this. Full plank, bear plank. I wrote bear, but that's too complicated. Extending your legs simplifies things. Pull throughs or shoulder taps. 10 total reps.
Yeah.
Did your toe make it?
My toe made it. It threatened, but it didn't die. Whew.
Pull that shoulder back a little bit. There you go. Good. Good. On that setup for the bent over row, and it's just more of a PSA. A nice active shoulder. So not letting that shoulder collapse forward. It's okay to be forward on purpose, not collapsing forward. Still kind of active and stable through that shoulder joint. Nice and smooth on these rows, right? You don't have to be quick. In fact, speed isn't, for the sake of speed, isn't super helpful on these.
That was great. Corpse position.
Yeah, now you can take a recovery position of your choice. That could be laying on the ground. That could be putting your feet on the couch, should you have one. So for some of us, you have a conveniently placed couch. This is also an option. Nice for the spine, right? Be like a little turtle stretch. You can bring the knees towards the chest. I don't know, just noodling around.
Oh.
We're feeling good. It's basically the plan here, right?
So yoga on Mondays, we usually finish with a corpse pose for 60 seconds where Joseph doesn't talk. And then he has us do a little stretch, which is really good morning stretch. And then we roll onto our sides, and I have named this the cuddle position. This is actually how I sleep, but with a knee pillow. So this is the cuddle position right here. Here.
The option, right? He's basically breaking down. Right. It's not a new idea, but instead of sitting up from something nice and relaxing, kind of.
Yeah. And I think it's good, I mean, sometimes when people try to get up like that, they torque things. So this is a
Especially if you're going from
sideline position, and I call it cuddle pose. It's my favorite yoga pose.
I prefer this one, the laying down one. Just no, yeah, sometimes going from a super passive and relaxed, down regulated shape into something active and sitting. This is like a nice kind of like gently. Or if you've ever been either had back problems or been pregnant.
I'll tell you what, when you lie your bike down in the mud, this is the way to get up, not the other way.
Well, I don't think you have an option when your bike is there too.
No, you don't.
I think when you're cuddling your bike,
Cuddle,
you're
get your foot out.
and you're like, hey, help.
Arisa, did you get sweaty? I got sweaty. This is the coldest room in the house, and I still
Yeah,
got
Arisa's sweatshirt came off and she was like,
yeah, I had to take off my sweatshirt. I mean, I was cold when I got up, and then yes, now my face is sweaty and my
you
glasses
have a sheen.
are foggy.
Oh,
You're iridescent. You have a sheen.
I glow.
You glow,
Yeah,
obviously.
I have a tendency to glow a lot.
Huh?
It's
glowy girl.
Let's put it this way. If both of you are like, what sweat? I don't. Ever. As in, it's not genetic. You just don't. You're highly dehydrated and I'm concerned for your health.
Yes.
Like if you stop sweating, that's a bad sign. Like you've been sweating and then you stop, your body's giving you a big red flag.
We don't have enough liquid to perform this basic body
Cooling function. I've only done that to myself once and I was less than a mile from where I was supposed to be, so it was fine. But can confirm, I was like, oh, that's weird. I stopped sweating. That can't be good, can it?
okay.
Yeah, like went bone dry. It was very odd. It turns out it was the beginning of heat illness, which I caught before it escalated, but yeah, it's weird. My friends, I wish you I don't know, a good day, something joyful happening.
right back.
Whatever that is.
I wish you good news today, ma'am.
And I will decide on what to do with the Marin Sentry later.
Get Yeah, see if you can find those elevations.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find some GPX files because I know one of them is an extra TAM, but there's time. I can make decisions later.
Okay. Signups are only until next Monday, though.
Yeah, no, I signed up. I just
Oh.
I don't know which version. Nikki signed me up for the Century, which is fair because that's what I asked for. But I don't know if I want to do the extra TAM or like the extra ones.
Yes.
There are options. And so I can just email the organizers. We are signed up though.
I'll see you there.
I'll see you there. Bye, y'all.
Bye.